here we are. Since Riot released the final version of all the new items coming in Season 11, we can finally go back, have a look at these items in their final form, and check out all the references to the lore of League of Legends. Now, for those of you who are wondering, why should there be any lore references in these items? The Summoner's Rift itself still has no mention in the lore. Well, it was confirmed that when Riot was designing these new items, they were taking their place in the world of League of Legends in consideration. Which means that every item that is found in the game should have its place on Runeterra. And recently, we even got a mention that some items have obvious clues that show us where these items are from, but others are open for speculation. In other words, some items were designed to be more vague on purpose, so that either they give the community a chance to speculate about the item's origins, or so they have a window open for the future, for a possible update to give the items more lore. Anyway, that's enough for the introduction. Because our last video on the items was a little bit longer, this time I will go through the items a lot quicker, especially the vague items. So, let's get on it. Also, thankfully Riot put the items in the client, so finally I don't have to constantly reload the game to have a look at these items in the shop. That really sucked. Going from the very beginning, the two vision trinkets are supposed to be plant-based wards. They were unchanged, but they still fit the description of Ishtal. The Oracle Lens is obviously a Piltover invention, just like the Control Ward. Health Potion was confirmed to be Ionian, based on the info from Legends of Runeterra. Rejuvenation Bead still has some kind of scenery in it, which still somehow remind me either Bilgewater or the Shadow Isles. So I do believe this might be a magical bead from somewhere around Buhuru. Fairy Charm still vaguely looks like the ring that was shown in the latest roadmap, the one that might be teasing the Ruined King as a champion. If that's the case, the Fairy Charm might be tied to the kingdom of the Ruined King. If not, this definitely looks Shuriman. Boots are boots. Cloth armor is unfortunately way too generic to get anything from it. Just like dagger. Or sapphire crystal. Although, I seem to vaguely remember a story where it was mentioned that sapphires are mined around the Emerantine coast, which would be somewhere around Ishtal. Ember Knife definitely has the aesthetics of Ishtal, the only region that really embraces elemental magic. Just like its counterpart Hailblade, although that one could be a Freljordian dagger, with the blade being a shard of true ice. Longsword is a long sword. The old Dark Seal used to have a Noxian crest on it, but the new one doesn't. So although we don't know what place this item is pointing at least we know it is probably not Noxus anymore. What is fascinating is that when it upgrades into Magile Soul Stealer, it actually retains the same icon, a little circle with spiky ends and a gem in the middle. But we don't know where this icon comes from. We would get the answer if we knew who Magi was. But Magi was originally a reference to a comic, so we honestly have no idea where this one could be from. Ruby Crystal is unfortunately very generic. Doran's ring, just like all the other Doran's items, have a lot of lore behind them. They were crafted by the legendary craftsman Doran, who's from Ionia. And if you wanna learn about him, we have a long video for him. Tear of the Goddess first appeared in a Shuriman tomb. We know that because of Ezreal. Spell Thief's Edge is a Freljordian dagger, because eventually in its final form, it reveals a shard of true ice. Steel shoulder guards are a piece of Demacian armor. They eventually upgrade into pauldrons of White Rock, which follow the Crown Guard aesthetics. Relic Shield eventually upgrades into Bulwark of the Mountain, which reveals this to be a Targonian item. Spectral Sickle upgrades into Black Mist Scythe, so of course it comes from the Shadow Isles. Unfortunately, the icon on Amplifying Tome is still a mystery to us, so we still don't know where this item comes from. The theme of Null Magic Mantle would fit Demacia, but aesthetically it doesn't, so it has to be from somewhere else. Khal still has the Noxian design, but metal twisting is also possible in other regions, such as Ionia or Ishtal, but the Reaping theme fits Shadow Isles, so this could be from anywhere. Elixir of Iron comes from Freljord. We know that because of Legends of Runeterra. This also revealed Elixir of Wrath to come from Noxus. Cloak of Agility could be from anywhere. Stopwatch is obviously Piltover. The gem in Crystalline Bracer was swapped from blue to green. I doubt this has a story reason, I just think that this was a clarity change, so it looks different from all the other gold and green items. Still, it looks Shuriman. Kirch's Shard still looks Ionian. It's the only place where they would use lightning for their attacks. That's besides the far north of Freljord, where Volibear is. Sheen is still very much a true ice weapon. Chain Vest was confirmed to be Demacian, just like Winged Moonplate, which might be the bottom half of the Gargoyle Stoneplate. Kindle Gem looks very Ionian, but the twirly design really fits Yordle's. Bramble Vest is definitely an item crafted either in Ionia or Ishtal. Both are places where they would use nature as a weapon. Forbidden Idol definitely comes from the Shadow Isles. It's a corrupted gem. Executioner's Calling is an awesome Zonite blade. And interestingly, Oblivion Orb also looks like a Zonite invention, but it could also be some magical device from the Blessed Isles. Rage Knife could be from anywhere, but the original Jinsu's Rage Blade was theorized to be from Ionia. Maybe that's where the knife is from as well. Blasting Wand is quite generic. Ether Wisp is obviously from the Shadow Isles. They removed the Nordic design from Pickaxe, so although previously it looked like Freljordian tool, now it could be from anywhere. Giant's Belt is still probably referencing the Giants of Ionia, which we have recently learned about in the story of Doran. Vampiric Scepter only really fits the Crimson Cult of Vladimir. Once again, thematically Negatron Cloak fits Demacia, but it doesn't fit Demacia aesthetically. Boots of Swiftness have an amazing aesthetic that seems to be referencing Nunu's traveling tribe. Glacial Shroud was renamed to Glacial Buckler, which fits since it's a Freljordian shield. Fiendish Codex could be from anywhere where there are cultists. Ionian Boots of Lucidity are obviously Ionian. Seeker's Armguard is probably the reason why Crystalline Bracer was changed from blue to green. The two items looked very similar. But according to Greyor, the shopkeeper on the Howling Abyss, Seeker's Armguard used to belong to Lysandra. Then there are the 4 items only available on ARAM. None of those were updated, and I doubt these were made part of the world. Recurve Bow could be from anywhere. Warden's Mail might be referencing a couple of different places, but 2 places stand out. We have the Wardens of Demacia, where this armor could fit, or the Wardens of the Blessed Isles, where this armor could fit even more. Mobility Boots are an awesome Zonite invention. Bammy Cinder is likely from Ishtal. Hextech Alternator is obviously Piltover. Bandle Glass Mirror probably leads into Bandle City, hence it being a Yordle item. If you look closer, Berserk's Graves are actually quite generic, so they could come from any army. Sorcerer's Shoes, however, use the Ishtali aesthetics, so I'm fairly confident that's where these shoes are from. Phage could be from anywhere. Plated Steel Caps are from Noxus, there is no denying that. Hearthbound Axe is likely referencing Ornn's people. Those Freljordians were not called the Hearthbound, but the Hearthblood. Either way, very likely a reference to Ornn. Mercury's Threats could be Demacian, but that's only because of the little icon on it. Caulfield's Hammer also seems to be Demacian, just because it is similar to the Hammer of Orlon. Serrated Dirk could be from anywhere. But then we have Storing Wardstone, which upgrades into Watchful Wardstone, which upgrades into Vigilant Wardstone. What is awesome is that the lower version of this item have a passive called Blooming Empire. This is what you need to level the item up. And Blooming Empire on its own is definitely referencing Ishtal, since Ishtal is one massive region that is surrounded by massive walls of plants. But when it is actually upgraded into the Vigilant Wardstone, its passive is renamed to Visions of Ishtal, confirming that the Wardstones come from Ishtal. Tiamat is definitely Shriman, which is likely the case of Zeal, only because I can't place it anywhere else. Verdant Barrier seem to have the aesthetic of 2 different places. Either it also comes from Ishtal, just like the Wardstones, or this could be referencing the Blessed Isles, because those curvy lines match the art we can find on Universe really well. Also, it later upgrades into Banshee's Veil, which definitely looks like an item that should be pushing back the Black Mist, hence why I think that this might be from the Blessed Isles. Iron Spike Whip is definitely a Noxian weapon. In fact, such a weapon was used by Tenef in the latest story where Noxus captured Riven. Needlessly Large Rod could still be from anywhere. I honestly don't know where we would find Chinese dragons on Runeterra. Spectral Scowl comes from the Shadow Isles. Blighting Jewel definitely looks like a Void Corrupted gem. BF Sword still very much looks Demacian. And then we have Quicksilver Sash, an item that has to be either Ishtali or from Ionia. Those are the only 2 places that could liquefy items, which means that Mercurial Scimitar could be from there as well. Hex Drinker could be from anywhere. Lost Chapter is likely from the Shadow Isles. Leeching Leer is an awesome Void Corrupted staff. Noon Quiver might be a Solari item. Last Whisper could be from anywhere. Aegis of the Legion definitely belongs to Demacia. Chemtech Purifier is another awesome Zonite invention, very much in the theme of spewing out fumes. Redemption, unfortunately, is very vague. I have no idea where it could be from. Knight's Vow will likely belong to the original kingdom of the Ruined King. Mikael's Blessing might be Ionian, but that's only because I have no idea where else it could be from. Ionia is the only place where bells actually had value. Same goes for Ardent Censer. These censers were used by the Shadow Order, so it might be Ionian as well. Staff of the Flowing Water might be referencing the Marai, which are Nami's people. But Nami's people already have a valuable staff, the one that turns you into the Tidecaller. So this staff might be used by the mages of Ishtal instead. Zeke's Convergence could be from anywhere, although I do like to think that this is a Piltover invention. Void Staff might belong to the original mages of Icathia. Zonia's Hourglass might also come from Icathia, because that's where Zillion had the most influence. Morelunomicon could be from anywhere. Manamoon aesthetically fits either Ionia, Ishtal or Targon. Jinsu's Rageblade, as we already mentioned, was always theorized to be Ionian. Shurelya's Battle Song definitely looks like a Shuriman item. Although here the gem is old, it was now updated for the item to stand out. Abyssal Mask definitely looks corrupted by the Void. Mortal Reminder looks like a Zonite bow, which is strange because they never use bows in Zone, so it might be actually Noxian. Same goes for Thornmail, definitely a black iron Noxian armor. Rapid Fire Cannon probably comes from Bilgewater. Stormrazor looks like an Ionian blade. Frozen Heart is another shard of true ice. Randuin's Omen is a massive Demacian shield. Locket of the Iron Solari belonged to the Iron Solari, therefore it is from Targon. Imperial Mantle could be from anywhere. The crest on the banner looks like the one we can find on the Dark Seal, so maybe all those 3 items are from the same place, we just don't know where it's from. It could be the Ancient Kingdom of Mordekaiser. Kempang Chainsword is definitely Zonite. Moonstone Renewer is likely referencing the Moonstones of the Marai, which they get from Diana in exchange for Abyssal Perils. Guardian Angel looks like a Targonian blade. Same goes from Umber Glaive, it could be a Lunari weapon. Serpent's Fang is definitely a reference to the Serpent Isles. Lord Dominic's Regards is definitely a Noxian crossbow. Phantom Dancer comes from the Shadow Isles, just like Spirit Visage. And visually this item has a lot of details. I wouldn't be surprised if we learned more about it in the game about the Ruined King. Essence Reaver also seems to be from the Shadow Isles. Dead Man's Plate is literally Gangplank's shoulder pad. Edge of the Night definitely looks like Talon's cloak, so it could be from Noxus. The passive on Force of Nature was renamed. Originally it was referencing Ishtal, now it is just Absorb. I do think they made this change for clarity, because aesthetically it still seems to come from Ishtal. However, now we have no proof. Archangel Staff is likely Targonian. Warmock's armor was once confirmed in a tweet to be crafted by Yordles. However, in-game we have no proof of that. Lichbane could be from anywhere. Nasher's Tooth is definitely a dagger corrupted by the Void. The 3 eyes are referencing Malzahar's Voidlings. Rylai's Crystal Scepter seems to be from Freljord. Yomu's Ghostblade is likely from Ionia. Sanguine Blade might be referencing the Crimson Cult of Vladimir. Horizon Focus, definitely a Piltover invention. Cosmic Drive looks like the crown Alun is wearing, so this might be a Lunari. Demonic Embrace is definitely an Ionian helmet. Its passive is even referencing the Azakana. Silvermare Dawn is Demacian. Silvermare is where Lux and Garen were born. The Collector comes from Bilgewater. Starrock's Gauge is a creator reference, so it could be from anywhere. Wit's End could also come from anywhere. Blade of the Ruined King belongs to the Ruined King. It fits the blade shown in the cinematic. Maw of Malmortius looks amazing, but we have no idea where it's from. It could be corrupted by the Void, or it could be crafted this way by some mage in Noxus. Death's Dance still has the eye in it, so this still might be a Darkin weapon. Sunfire Aegis is definitely Shuriman. Hextech Rocket Belt is definitely Piltover invention. Riftmaker is definitely a corrupted Void item. It heavily resembles Vel'Koz. Night Harvester might be referencing the Lunari, but I think it's more likely to be referencing the Shadow Isles, especially the giant axe which Rasa has. Frostfire Gauntlet is referencing Freljord. Turbo Chem Tank is an awesome reference to Zonite augments. Unfortunately, they didn't keep the old name. Cataclysm Suit. Duskblade of Darkthar still seems to be from the Shadow Order, in Ionia. Eclipse is likely a Lunari weapon. Prowler's Claw probably belongs to some monk in Ionia. Black Lever was crafted from Noxian Black Iron. Ravenous Hydra also seems to be a Noxian axe. Gargoyle Stoneplate referencing Galio in Demacia. Titanic Hydra also seems to be crafted in Noxus. Gore Drinker could be from anywhere, but the blunt edges on the top might be referencing the design of Noxus. Stridebreaker, however, seems to be Freljordian. Divine Sunderer could be from anywhere. I honestly don't even know what the icon is showing. The floating blades of Trinity Force look like they are from Ionia. Infinity Edge still could be from anywhere. We have no idea. Bloodthirster seem to have the old Blood Mage Noxian design. Rune's Hurricane might be Ionian, because I don't know where else it could be from. It might also be an old Darkin weapon. Liandry's Anguish likely comes from the Shadow Isles, originally from the Blessed Isles. Luden's Tempest could be from anywhere. Everfrost is definitely from Freljord. Gale Force might also be from Ionia, but only because I don't know where else it could be from. Kraken Slayer is definitely a Bilgewaterian cannon. Immortal Shieldbow is from Noxus. Navori Quickblades reference Navori, the capital city of Ionia. Cerilda's Gurge is Freljordian, referencing Cerilda, one of the three sisters of Freljord. Rabadon's Deathcap seems to be one of the artifacts locked in Noxus. That's where Vygar was tormented, but we still have no idea where this item could be originally from. But that is it for all the items. Finally now we can move on to other topics. Once again, as I said, Riot designed all these items with Runeterra in mind. They knew these items had to fit somewhere in the world, but for some of them they were specifically vague so that we would have a room to speculate. Which means if you saw something which I missed, please let me know. Some of these items might be referencing future lore, and I would hate to miss it.